Hello, everybody. 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 Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to my channel, everybody. Today, I am super excited. I am back with season 2 of my thoughts on The Bear season 2. What? Like, you guys know what I mean. I am back with my thoughts on season 2 of The Bear. If you're not familiar with the show The Bear, it is on Hulu. Season 3 is actually coming out the night that I am posting this, which is wild. Like, I did not plan this. When I posted season 1, I wasn't even sure when season 3 was going to come out, and that was last week. So I feel like this was just meant to be. It was totally perfect timing, and I'm taking it as a sign. So I have quite a bit of notes. I'm gonna try not to make the video too long. I don't want to be here all morning. It's like 4:45 probably in the morning right now, and the sun is probably gonna come up soon. So I'm gonna try to make it kind of quick, but I also don't want to rush, and I think I have a lot to say. So I have my handy little notebook here. First thing, oh wait, I also wanted to chew some gum, so I put some gum in my mouth. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to support the channel. Some orbit, peppermint gum. Like, why is this gum always like super stuck in the box? It's crazy. Alright, so we left off season 1. Sydney had served that dish to somebody who turned out to be a food critic, and they started their to-go business, and their pre-orders went like completely out of control. So they got some really good clout from that. But it kind of ruined the dynamic in the shop, in the restaurant. So Sydney like kind of left for a while, and I think Marcus had left for a while, but Marcus came back, and then Sydney came back, and they found all that cash in the like spaghetti sauce cans. So now we're back at season 2. First thing I want to say about season 2 is like the way that Carm's anxiety and panic attacks were displayed in this season gave me like a lot more compassion for him. Like, I feel for him a lot more now than I did in season 1. Like throughout this season, I was like, oh, okay. In season 1, it wasn't giving that at all. Like, I kind of just thought like he was being a brat and like was having like panic attacks here and there, but now I understand. Like, I think it's just better depicted in the second season. So alright. First thing I wrote for episode 1, Marcus and Sid should just kiss. That was the first thought that I had. I was like, I cannot wait for their relationship to progress. Like, I'm here for the storyline. Cousin Richie, aka Cousin, is trying to control his anger and find his purpose, which is amazing. I love that for him. But he's still a hot mess. Sugar is Prego for sure. That's what I wrote. She's been showing the signs, I feel like, uncle had lent to Mike, the brother who passed away. So once they found it, they realized, like, okay, we can, like, do something with this, like, let's make the restaurant better. But it wasn't enough, so they decided to tell their uncle, hey, we found this money, we're gonna use it to, like, you know, do better, but we need more, so can you invest? So the uncle is not down with the business plan. He's not loving where things are going, but I guess that's his family, so he wants to give it a chance. He wants to see them thrive, so he agrees to 18 months, and they will have to pay him back by the end of the 18 months. If they don't pay him back, then he gets to take the restaurant and sell the lot, and he'll make, like, I think it was like $2 million off of it. And I wrote 18 months is wild, and that's overly ambitious. Like, 18 months is really not a lot of time. So Godspeed. I hope that it works, but I don't really have a lot of faith in them. So they sent Tina and Ibra back to culinary school to refine their skills, and I really, really loved that. But I felt kind of bad for Ibra because he looked like he simply was not, like, gonna thrive in culinary school, and Tina was, like, ready to go. And I said, why do I love Tina now? Congrats to her. I do love her now. I love her growth. And then at the end of episode 1, Sydney asked Tina to be her chef, like her sous chef, and I thought that was so sweet. So when, you know, the new restaurant, or like the Bear, opens up, oh, I don't know if I even mentioned that, so it used to be called the Beef, and now after their revamp, they're going to be calling it the Bear, which I like a lot better. So when the Bear opens up, I don't know what the different, like, levels of chef positions are called, but Sid is going to be the head chef, and she asked Tina to be her sous chef, which is, like, right below the head chef, and I really, really love that for Tina. I'm very happy for her. If you watched the last review that I did, like the season 1 review, I was not feeling Tina. Like, me and Tina were not friends, but she's definitely grown on me. I even wrote goosebumps at the end because I was just so happy for them. So, episode 2. First thing I wrote was Sugar is definitely pregnant, and then we find out later in the episode that she is. There was this whole situation with, like, moving the locker, and then, like, Mike's locker, the older brother who passed away, his locker was locked, and they had to cut the deadbolt off of it, and it was, like, a whole thing. And then come to find, they just, like, there was just a hat in there. It was, like, an old hat. I was at the Beef in, like, a year, and I found it to be very anticlimactic. That's what I wrote. And Sydney agreed with me because she was like, oh, there was just a hat, like, okay. And then Marcus called her an eel, which I don't agree with, because, yeah, like, seriously, there was nothing in there. That was, like, such a big deal to cut the lock off the locker, and then there was, like, it was empty. But anyway, Ibra, yeah, I put a sad face, and I sent Ibra in school because he really was not, like, he didn't look happy to be there. Also, I was calling him Idris, like, this whole time. I think it was, like, episode 5 when I finally realized that his name was Ibra. So I think I was calling him Idris in the first season also. I don't know why. Oh my god, and then they find mold. So at this point, they're doing, like, demolition on the inside of the restaurant. And they find mold in the ceiling in the kitchen, which obviously is a big deal. And Vac is trying to tell Richie, like, you know, we have to call somebody, like, this is not okay. Vac and Marcus are both trying to be like, you know, this is a big deal, like, and Richie's just, like, trying not to make a thing out of it. He's like, no, we don't have time for this, like, we can fix this ourselves, kind of thing, like, we don't have to call anybody, it's just gonna prolong the process. And then the ceiling falls on his head, so he's like, Richie's like, yeah, mold is a buzzword. a buzzword. Mold is terrible. You cannot like serve food in a moldy building. That's like not a thing. It's like, yeah, I know mold is a buzzword. And then they have this whole, in fact, and Richie have this whole back and forth about telling mom, and I'm thinking like, are they related? Like the whole time I'm thinking they're related, and it turns out they were talking about Sugar. So I guess Sugar is mom. They didn't want to tell mom. Well, Richie didn't want to tell mom. And then we find out that Sugar is pregnant while she's sitting next to a broken toilet, which I found really gross. And then, y'all, Carm runs into Claire at the store. And I'm like, now who the F is Claire? And why did he give her the wrong number? And I believe that was the end of episode 2. That's really all I got from it. So in episode 3, Sydney has a conversation with her dad, or I don't know if it was at the end of episode 2 where she has the conversation, and then it rolls over to episode 3, because at this point, Sydney is doing like market research. She's going to different restaurants, tasting their food, and you know, like building recipes, and she's also like recruiting a restaurant staff and stuff like that. So she's doing a lot of work, and Carm is supposed to be there doing it with her, but seems like he's kind of busy hanging out with Claire. Now, before this, I believe in episode 2, her dad was talking about like, you know, she has other options, and you need a really good partner for something like this, and she has to really trust in her partner. So I feel like he planted these seeds of doubt in Sydney's mind, and now she's feeling like extra skeptical. But as the season goes on, I can see why. Like, I understand Carm is supposed to be there, and he's really slacking, and he just has a lot of like, he has a lot of stuff to work through, and it seems to be interfering. And now Claire comes into the picture, and it's like, so for backstory, I guess Claire went to high school with Carm, and they would hang out here and there, but they never pursued anything. And it turns out that, you know, they both had a crush on each other, but neither one of them ever did anything about it. Carm has never had a girlfriend, by the way, which is not that weird. He said he was super awkward and like antisocial in high school, so I guess it makes sense. Anyway, so now he's hanging out with Claire, and he has all these anxiety issues, and he's like trying to find his way in life, and also opening this restaurant. It's just a lot of stress for him. So I understand where Carm is coming from, but I also understand where Sid is coming from. It's just a lot. And they don't seem to be on the same page. So at this point, Ibra stops going to school, and I'm crying. Claire knows all the facts. I don't know why I wrote that. That must have been something that she said, and I just thought it was funny. And then I said, maybe I like her. I wrote that Sydney is more dedicated than Carm, and I'm worried about their partnership. So yeah, basically everything that I just said. And that's pretty much all I got from episode 3. Then in episode 4, I'm overwhelmed for them because they've torn down all their walls. I don't know how far they were from opening at this point, but it was just like a couple of weeks. Their restaurant was considered a biohazard because of the mold. I'm like, Sugar should not be in there. Like, what is she doing in there? And then, y'all, Marcus goes international. They send him to, is it Copenhagen? I want to say it's Copenhagen. And I also am curious as to how they can afford this, but they send him to Copenhagen for training. And the guy that's training him is the eyebrow dude from We're the Millers and Maze Runner. He's also in, and some other stuff. The eyebrow dude, you know who I'm talking about. I called him Baby Ram. this for him. I was, yeah, he like, at the end of the episode, he like randomly rescues some guy from a fence. Like, the guy was like bleeding, and then he just like pulled him out from under the fence, and then the guy gets back on his bike and runs away. So I don't know what that was about. That was kind of weird, but yeah. So Marcus is learning, he's growing, he had a great time in Copenhagen, and yeah, that's wonderful for him. Love it. Episode 5, I said, okay, his name is Ibra. Finally, I'm understanding. I also said, is Uncle in the Mafia, because why does he have so many connections? Like, he was able to get, I forgot what license they needed, but they were having a hard time getting it, and they just told Uncle, and Uncle was like, bet, I got you. Like, how does he do that? And they've never been like super clear on what his job is. So like, is he just like a business owner? Like, does he own multiple businesses? What goes on? What's up with him? Okay, so Tina gets invited to like a bar with some of her classmates, and she sings this really like slow song that's like in English and Spanish. I said it was a little bit of a buzzkill, but also that I was really proud of her and okay with those vocals, girl. And then Claire takes Carm to a party, and I'm just like, who's never been to a party? Like, that's weird. I don't know. I don't care how antisocial you are. You've definitely been to a party before. But again, here's Carm neglecting his responsibilities to go to a party with Claire. Like, who told you to do this? It's so unnecessary. But I'm having very mixed feelings because I'm kind of loving their budding relationship, but also, like, I feel like he's neglecting Sid. I said I'm feeling bad for Sid, and is Claire a bad influence? Kind of like them though, question mark. So like, yeah, I like them. I like their dynamic. I love where they're going, but it's just like bad timing. But you can't blame Claire. Like, it's not like, it's definitely all on Carm. Like, he knows that he has other things to be doing, and he's just, you know, deciding to spend his time with Claire instead. So I'm not gonna say she's a bad influence, but that's how I was feeling in the moment. So that was episode 5. Now episode 6 was a doozy because this was a like a throwback Christmas episode. Jamie Lee Curtis played their mom, and the dude from Better Call Saul was in it. What's his name? Dang, I can't remember his name right now. Sarah Paulson was in it, and really, like, this episode just kind of stressed me out. It was just a lot of like chaotic family drama, and I guess it was a good way to like see their family dynamic, but I don't know, I feel like I already had a grasp on the dynamic, and I didn't really, like, this episode just felt like filler to me. I also wrote, who even are these people, because I feel like they just kind of threw a lot of random people into a room, and we were just supposed to know that they were family. I mean, like, I got it, I understood, but it took me a long time to figure out, like, who was who, and I guess it wasn't all that important, but to me it was. I literally spent, like, the entire episode trying to figure out how everyone was related, and if they were related or not. The facts were there, which I thought was cool, because, you know, Fac has a brother. They were kind of funny. And then at the end of the episode, that's when everything comes to a head. I wrote, I was expecting something drastic, but I did not expect that. So basically, Jamie Lee Curtis, the mom, is going through this whole episode. She's like drinking too much, but she's making this beautiful meal at the same time, and Sugar's like really concerned for her and keeps trying to check on her, and she just has like a crazy wild attitude. She's just yelling at everybody, and she's like, you guys wouldn't even miss me if I was gone, and nobody does anything for me, and I do so much for you guys, and like all this. And I felt like she was being really, really dramatic, like, honestly, because people were offering to help her and love her, and like, you know, but she was like not taking it, and then complaining that nobody was giving her anything. Like, very toxic environment and situation, and I was not feeling it at all. But then at the end of it, they get into an argument at the dinner table. Mike is throwing forks at Bob Ogden. Is that his name? From Better Call Saul. I think that's his name. Mike is throwing forks at this man. Again, I don't even think he's related. They're calling him like Uncle Lee, but I think they had said earlier in the season that he wasn't really related to them. So, yeah, like Uncle Lee is like egging him on at the dinner table, and Mike is like throwing forks at him, and everybody's arguing, and then the mom comes down, and Sarah Paulson's husband, who I guess Sarah Paulson is either their aunt or their cousin somehow, like older cousin, and she's married to this man, and I forgot the man's name, but he gives a really good, like, they ask him to say grace, and he gives like a really nice, like, heartfelt speech, and I don't even understand how it escalated from here, but the mom just like goes off and she's screaming and she goes outside crying, and then she drives the car into the house. So that's what I meant by something drastic, but I did not expect that. I was actually expecting worse, because earlier in the episode she was talking about her G-Win that she had on her bedside table upstairs, and I thought she was gonna do something way worse to herself, because she kept saying that, like, you guys don't need me here, like, you guys won't miss me if I'm gone and all that. And so like that's what I was expecting. Obviously I'm glad that didn't happen, but like, why did you drive your car into the house? So now I'm just convinced that she's like just extra and dramatic for no reason. Like, I'm sure she has a lot of drama and like there's a story behind it, but it's just too much. Episode 7, I really loved. First thing I wrote is I love Chef Richie. So Carm sends Richie off to a restaurant that he used to work at to like train in the kitchen and be like, what do you call that? I don't know, like the hostess, whatever. Like he runs the floor, right? Or the host, I guess, because he's a guy. And so they're teaching him how to like work in the kitchen, you know, polish the forks, prep the floor, and, you know, like run the what do you call it? Just like run the night, basically. So, and he has a terrible attitude about it in the beginning, but I feel like he warmed up really quickly. And the chef that's training him is named Garrett, and he's like trying to teach Richie like how to respect the culinary industry and, you know, just like respect ranks and all. I said showing Richie the meaning of respect. And then the head chef comes in and just yells F Garrett, which I didn't understand, like, why are they mad at Garrett, but whatever. I was also feeling kind of sad for Cousin. I felt like at this point I was kind of seeing that he's lost his way in life, and he really wants to do better for his kid. Also from the last episode, like, you see like his dynamic with the mother of his child, and how he was trying to better himself for her even then, and, you know, things just don't line up for him, and, you know, it happens. Like, you can try and get discouraged, and, you know, sometimes people fall and they don't get back up right away. So I was feeling sad for him, but I was also really loving the restaurant flow. Like, it just made me kind of miss working in the food service industry, which I don't miss at all, but it was really cool to watch. I said I love this era of Richie because he was really getting into it. He was like on the floor talking to the customers. He was like, can I run this plate, chef? Like, it was really fun. I really liked this episode. And then at the end I wrote, okay, why is Cousin tripping? I don't remember what he was tripping about exactly, but he like didn't really want to leave. Oh, okay, I remember. He didn't want to leave the restaurant. He was having a good time there. He felt like he was growing. He was really coming into his own. But then he calls Carm and he's like, I know you sent me here to get rid of me. Like, I know you want to send me away. I know you don't want me to be involved anymore. And that's literally like the opposite of what Carm was trying to do. He just wanted him to like train and be better. And then he meets, I guess, the owner of the restaurant, and they have this this woman tells him, like, you know, Carm really believes in you. And he's like, well, why would you say that? And she's like, well, because he told me. So now I feel like, okay, maybe Richie sees, like, you know, Carm's really just trying to help him and make him, like, help him be better because he has faith in him. Like, he's not wasting his time. He's not trying to get rid of him or whatever. So, now we're on to episode 8. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, at this point, I had eaten an edible, so my notes are a little bit wonky. But I'm going to try to do my best here. Fact appreciation in this episode, because I feel like I didn't talk about fact at all in the first season, and I was really, like, even in the first season I was like, oh, this guy's funny, like, I like him, we need to see more of him. And I don't know, I feel like he's just the glue. Like, he's just that one person in the group that makes everything light again, even when it's really not light at all. And he's not even trying to make it light, he's just like, that's just his personality. So fact appreciation right here. So yeah, just a lot of funny dynamics. Sid, in the beginning, she tries Marcus's food and she's really impressed by it, and I love that, like the food that he learned to make in Copenhagen. I was just so happy for him, so proud of him. And then Carm has this inspiration to make cannolis, and it's just like, what did he say? It was like him letting go of his past kind of thing, like putting it into the cannolis, because cannolis are like a tradition in his family. So he felt like making the cannolis and like making it his own thing was like him letting go of his past and putting it into his work. And Marcus was like, yeah, that's healthy. And he wasn't being sarcastic. I agree, it is very healthy of him. Yes, at this point Richie comes back. He's wearing a suit. He's ready to run the floor. He's like, this is gonna be the best. We're gonna get a star. Like, let's do this. And he apologizes. I believe he apologized to Sugar. And I felt like that was very needed. So I'm very proud of Richie. Everyone's growth is just really growing at this point, and I'm really happy for everyone. Richie is a star catcher, is what I said. I love this. At this point, I was really trying to process like Carm's anxiety, and like, this is where I realized, like, okay, they're depicting this a lot differently than they did before, and like I was kind of understanding it and identifying with him a little bit better. So I started to sympathize with him a lot more, whereas before I was just kind of like, oh, he's slacking off, like he's just a whatever. But yeah, so and then fact saved the day. What did he do to save the day? Oh yeah, they had that fire test that they had already failed twice, and they were about to take it for a third time. And if they failed this third time, they weren't going to be able to open. So they couldn't figure out why they kept failing the test. It was like this balloon that they had to hook up to the stove, and then if the balloon pops, they fail. And then it turned out that it was something that Mike had turned off because he wanted to try and set the restaurant on fire so he can get the insurance money. And Fack figured all of this out because there was like a burnt picture somewhere, and he was like, oh, he tried to burn the restaurant down, so maybe he turned off this thing. So then, yeah, he ended up turning it back on, and they passed that little fire inspection test. And I thought this was going to be the last episode of the season, but it wasn't, so I was like, oh, there's more. Alright, so now there's 2 episodes left. Episode 9 has quite a bit of notes, so I'm going to try to get through it kind of quickly. I'm sorry if I'm rushing through this, but clearly I had a lot to say. So it's family night, right? So this is their first run through. They invited all their friends and family to like their soft open, right? And they're like doing their full menu. They're like, you know, the whole night, everything's happening. So, and I talked about this already, but I said that I'm seeing some growth in Carm, right? He's trying to control himself. He's trying to communicate a little bit better. Also, I don't know why I thought the mom had passed away already, but she's not. I mean, she's alive. So I guess it makes sense why they did that whole like backstory episode with the Christmas episode. I wrote, I knew Claire was trouble, but I don't think I meant that. I said I knew Claire was trouble, but I'm still rooting for them. I said that because, why did I say that? I think Sydney felt like Carm was distracted by the fact that Claire was there. But also, I don't remember why I said that, honestly. I don't know if Claire was trying to like, what was it? Something happened with Claire at her table and Carm was like, I'll do it, like I'm coming out, like I'll do it right now. And so he goes to the table and Sydney was like, is now the time for this, like you don't need to do this right now. That's what it was. But again, it's not Claire's fault. Like I was totally blaming Claire just because she like showed up out of nowhere, but it's not her fault. So Claire's not trouble. If anything, I feel like she's really been helping them like tame his anxiety and like communicate more effectively. So if anything, she's kind of a positive influence on him. I said they should have been marketing. I don't remember why I said that, but yeah, they definitely should have a marketing team. Oh, and then Marcus makes a dish and he calls it the Michael. Love that. Eber comes back and he talks to Tina and Tina's like, well, we need somebody to man like the to-go station, so if you know anybody, let me know. I'll put in a good word, you know, like hint like you can come back. Oh my god. And then Marcus shoots his shot with Sydney. He's like, hey, do you want to go get dinner later? And Sydney's like, oh no, like I don't know if we're gonna have time. Like, oh wait, you weren't trying to ask me out, right? Like that, such a weird, awkward moment. And then they're like butting heads for the whole rest of the night. Like, please get over yourselves. Like, are you serious? Cousin's opening speech made me laugh. I don't remember why, but yeah. They asked Vac to go find a screwdriver and he was like, I'm front of house now. I don't know where the screwdrivers are. Like, I love Vac. And then Carm and Sydney like make up a little bit, and then it's a whole like, okay, let it rip. Like when it's time to, Sid says let it rip when it's time to like open up and like start serving, which I love it. Why did I say that Claire was trouble? It must have been something else because they weren't even open yet at this point. It must have been something else. I don't know. Yeah, so in episode 10, I wrote, this is the last episode, you guys, I wrote Sidarchus is making me mad. Okay, so I gave them a couple name already, Sidarchus, Sydney and Marcus, because they were like butting heads the whole time, like in the kitchen, like please be professional about this. And then Carm gets stuck in the walk-in, which gave me so much anxiety. I was panicking for them, but honestly, I think it turned out better that he was in the walk-in because he wasn't out there like stressing everybody out. He was having a major panic attack while he was in there though, and I don't even blame him because I was panicking and I wasn't even in there. I'm not even in the show. And then a mom actually shows up, which shocked me to the core, and she shows up at a point where Sugar's husband was the only one that saw her, so he went outside to be like, hey, come in, like, you know, everybody's waiting for you, Sugar's gonna be so happy to see you, kind of thing. We have a table, like we have a spot for you. And mom is back at it with her self-absorbed nonsense. She can't just like do a good thing for her kids, like she has to make it all about herself. So she's like refusing to come in. She's like, just tell me they're okay, like go see for yourself. I'm like over mom at this point. Like, you're very dramatic, you clearly haven't grown at all. And I hope that season 3 looks better for you, because at this point I think you just need to go. So yeah, then Claire finds out. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, at this point I just had so many mixed emotions that I didn't even know what to say or do Alex was out in the back, like, doing drugs, and Marcus caught him, and he was like, bro, I think I have to fire you. Like, I don't know. So crazy. It was just like a very wild ride, and they made it through. Everybody was happy. It's beautiful, but Carm is still in the walk-in. So now Claire finds out, and she goes back there, but nobody tells him that she's going back there. Like, she didn't. I don't remember if she announced herself or what. No, she didn't announce herself, because then he was in there, like, talking to himself, I guess. I don't know who he thought he was talking to. If he thought it was, as he was talking to somebody right before that, I think he was talking to Tina, and Tina was trying to, like, you know, calm him down or whatever. But then Claire shows up, and I'm thinking she's gonna go in there and, like, save the day and calm him down or whatever. But he's going on this rant about how, like, it's not the right time for him and Claire, and like, the way he's saying it is so harsh. I really want to know who he thought he was talking. And, like, it's pretty obvious to me that he obviously doesn't mean what he's saying, and he's having a manic episode. But Claire heard everything he said and basically was like, okay, good talk, thanks for letting me know, and bye forever. Sorry you feel that way. Obviously she was really sad. I was really sad. I was, like, emotionally distraught at the end of this episode. I didn't know how to feel. Like, on the one hand, I was really happy for them that they successfully got through this night, even with Carm locked in the walk-in, and that one guy doing drugs in the back, like, and Richie yelling, and, like, everybody has grown so much at this point, and I was so proud of them. But then the whole thing with Claire happens, and I feel like everything blew up in my face. I didn't even care that Mom left. I was actually glad that she left. Oh my god, I forgot that Sugar's husband spilled the beans about her being pregnant, so I'm sure that made Mom even more distraught that she wasn't involved in that, and, like, you know, she's not gonna get to see her daughter, like, whatever. All this self-pity from Mom is, like, really annoying to me. I wrote, wow, Richie, for some reason. I don't know why I wrote that. And also I wrote, you know, it's a good thing it's family night. And that was the end of my notes. Like, I just kind of shut down at the end of the season. I didn't know how to feel. I didn't know how to process anything. Like I said, I also had taken an edible, so I just wasn't ready for what I was in for. Like, I just had a lot of emotions at the end of this, and I'm so glad that I watched this so close to season 3, because I'm gonna binge watch the whole season immediately, because I just cannot wait. I'm really glad that they're putting out the whole season, and it's not gonna be like an episode every week, because that would have really been annoying. I probably would have had to wait until all the episodes aired for me to start watching it, because I can't, like, I'm so impatient. I need to watch everything all at once. So I hope y'all enjoyed this slightly chaotic review of The Bear season 2. I'm super excited for season 3, so stay tuned for my review on that within the next couple of weeks, probably. I was gonna start watching a new show, and then I realized how close the air date was for season 3, and I was like, you know what, I'm not even gonna start watching anything. I'm just gonna wait for it to come out, and that's gonna be my main focus. So I will try to take better notes next time, so that I can have better talking points. But I feel like I got a lot out. This video is super long, like way longer than I wanted it to be. Also, the sun is up, the birds are chirping, so I gotta go, y'all. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to support